Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Sacred Sensuality. I am just going to jump right into it. So, I, um, I asked my cards, basically, my spirit guides, what is going to be in the what's some money opportunities and things like that for people, because I know right now there are people going through a lot of hard times. So um, we could talk about love and everything else all day, every day, but when it all comes down to it, we need to survive. We need money. That is a part of being sensual. Okay, and if you looked at my previous reading, you will know exactly why I said that. So when I was shuffling, I heard the word intention. And I haven't used these cards in a few years, but when I pulled the deck out, the first card before I started shuffling was the Emperor. Immediately, what came to mind is either somebody's in their CEO energy, meaning you could be starting a new business, or you are attracting a business partner, or you're moving up in leadership. So it's funny because that actually came out in these cards. Right now, you are being called by Spirit to develop a different perspective. If you are struggling with money, finding a job, switching careers, whatever it is that you are struggling with when it comes to your money, you are being encouraged by Spirit right now to develop a different perspective. I don't know how that looks for you, but from what I'm seeing from these cards so far, the perspective looks like this to me. Shit's gonna happen. It's just a part of life. Are you going to sit and hold tight to every little single bit that you have? Or will you change your mind and know that there's something coming up better for you? Not think, but know that there's something better coming up for you. I had the feeling that for some of you who may be listening, you may be, and I do apologize, my sympathies are with you guys because I know how this feels. You could be in the process of getting laid off. That was what I got. And you are uncertain right now in these times of where exactly to go. I feel that for some of you, you could be single mothers. For some of you, you may have to move in with a mother or a grandmother because, your nest egg is either dwindling down or you didn't have that much money saved or whatever it is. However, I'm also getting for those who may be a little bit middle-aged and older, a little bit more mature, should I say, who have been attracted to this reading, you may have a pretty decent retirement account and you may want to travel a little bit. You may feel like, I kind of want to rest before I go and look for another job. I pretty much have enough money saved, or my 401k investments, whatever it is looking pretty decent. So therefore, I'm just going to, try to just travel a little bit and just not even for some of you who don't want to travel, maybe you just want to sit at home and just kind of have a little bit more leisure time, right? However, for those of you who are sitting in this energy of, I don't know what's next. I'm really uncertain about what's coming up. I don't know what move to make. You've got big moves and big decisions to make that is coming up on you. Okay? From what I see here, a lot of you are about to be either put in a leadership position. Just your experience by itself, it's enough. You may have that resume glow. That's why I like to call it a resume glow, right? To where it doesn't even, a person can look at the first three duties of what you did and just know immediately, I want to hire this person. Like, I want to see this person. You may have that resume glow. Um, when you are offered this position, the pay is going to be very well for you. I don't know what that looks like for you because this is not a personal reading. However, with the Empress and the Nine of Pentacles, that's telling me it's looking like a pretty good penny. Because the Nine of Pentacles, she's all about, living abundantly. She has everything she wants and needs. She is a single woman. Um, and then you have the Empress. We all know the Empress, she's just everything. She's all of the queens in one, right? She's just everything. I feel that for some of you too, there could be either a very prominent male or a very prominent female who may be in a position of power that is going to help push your paperwork along or push you up to be seen or even hire you or interview you directly. And I believe that is why Spirit wants you to change your perspective, because it's almost as if it's saying, if you go into this with the perspective of, I've been interviewed a million times and I've talked to people a million times, I'm just going in here and I'm not expecting nothing. Spirit is saying, change that perspective. Change it. Once you start changing that perspective, you're going to start seeing things coming in. I'm also getting, for some of you, there was nothing happening at all. Like you could have gotten like a bunch of no's or a bunch of, we received your application, or sorry, we haven't, we're not moving you to the next step of the hiring process. Once again, I personally know how that is. Not my compassion do go to people that way. I'm feeling that for some of you, you could be trying to move up within the company that you are in, and there's a hiring freeze. There could be a hiring freeze, but not just being a hiring freeze. It's more like, I feel that for some of you, there's an intentional holdup. It could be an intentional holdup within management for whatever reason. I don't know that reason because once again, this is a general, right? So for some of you, there's an intentional holdup. So if you've ever had that feeling like, okay, they interviewed me, or I did my phone interview and I was supposed to go to the next step and I haven't, somebody is holding your stuff for whatever reason. And I'm going to look a little bit deeper into this reading to see why, but there's an intentional holdup. If you have had that interview or you had that phone interview and it's been within a certain time frame, now is the time to do a follow-up. Now is the time to send that email, do that phone call, send that text, however way the recruiter or the hiring manager may communicate with you. Now, I'm also seeing here that for some of you, you are holding on to your money for dear life. That's another reason why Spirit wants you to change your perspective, because when you start doing that, there's nothing wrong with budgeting and living wisely, right? We want to use it wisely. But holding on for dear life, you are basically telling the universe and money, whoever you pray to, whatever, you are basically saying, this is all I have. This is all I'll ever have. So I'm going to hold on to it because I don't know where my next meal is coming from. I don't know where my next job is coming from. And although for some of you that could be true, and it is always easier said than done. Once again, been there, done that, my total compassion with you. However, validate those feelings. I'm always going to tell you, no matter how you feel, good, bad, angry, sad, however you feel, validate those feelings. Okay? What you start to do, you start to transmute that and say, you know what? I can budget. I am just going to be wise because this is not all that I have. Some of you, your root chakra is not in alignment. You could have had a life of not being told that you don't have enough or they didn't have enough to get you or whatever. And so I feel that for some of you, it just kind of leaked over into the money, the career part of your life. There's no problem with being frugal. You just don't do it cheaply, right? There's no problem with budgeting. You just don't, you pay yourself first, right? Don't neglect the small things that you may absolutely need in life. You know what I mean? For instance, I'll use me for an example. I don't care too much for expensive things. I have them, I do, but I don't go out of my way to go search for them, right? However, when it comes to makeup, I absolutely must have a MAC Kohl eyeliner pencil. I just have to have it. That costs 20 something dollars. But for me, it lasts a long time because I don't wear makeup all the time and I don't wear it every day, right? I have to have it. But when it comes to the regular black eyeliner, the liquid eyeliner, I don't like the expensive stuff. It doesn't work for me. I go to the beauty supply and I buy that one for what, $2, $3.99, and it lasts just as long, and it's actually really good and it doesn't get into my eyes, right? So for me, that's my way of using a balance to make sure that I still have quality, and and at the same time I'm still getting what I want. So you can, if whatever it is for you, just make sure that you aren't holding on to that type of, it's a negative attachment. I call when people hoard money and they're stingy and they're so guarded and they're just mine, 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 mine. To me, it's an entity attached to you. Honestly, it's an entity attached to you. It's more than, yes, it is your mindset, but it's an entity attached to you. You have now created an entity, or it was passed down to you and you've accepted it. Once you accept that, you're never going to get to the place where you want to be. You're never going to have the money that you want to have. So Spirit is saying with this death card, once again, that transformation, that changing your mindset, let that go. Transform the way you think about money, career, opportunities, because there's so much good that's getting ready to happen to you, but it cannot come in until you start to invite it in and you change that mindset. Because once you invite it in and it's at the door and it sees you in that state, it's going to be like, I got to come back another time when you're better. You know what I mean? Now, I'm feeling that for those of you who, whether you, I'm just going to keep it on one story, right? Because it's a lot of stories here, to be honest with you. For those of you who are in that mindset of holding on to dear life from it, or even holding on, just heard for some of you holding on to a position. Okay, hold on a second. Let me process. Some of you could be holding on to a position with dear life. I'm hearing, I don't want to be here. I can't really go nowhere, but I'm seeing people either leave left and right, or they're getting fired, or they're getting laid off. So I'm going to come in every day and do my job, keep my head down, and just be seen as the good employee so that no one could see me, screw up or anything like that. And I just become a target. Stop. Like quite literally stop. That right there just irritated the hell out of me. Stop doing that. You have to let that go. Because what you're doing is you're inviting in that spirit of lack, that I can't move anywhere right now. I can't go anywhere right now. There's no other place that's hiring. Yes, the economy is so fucked up right now. I agree. I agree on so many levels. However, you have to stop holding, don't detach from the outcome of whatever's going to happen. Go in, do what you can, do what you have to do what you were hired to do. But going above and beyond, and just to make it appear that You know, you don't want to be the next person that get fired, laid off. I'm hearing for some of you even wrote up. Stop. Do what you were hired to do. Stop going above and beyond. Because when you do that, you're basically saying, I'm so fucking worthy of the next position that holding on to this is not doing, it's not doing anything for me. Like, yeah, I'm coming in here, I still have a job, but I don't like these people. I'm doing extra duties for people I can't stand or don't do their work or they're lazy. Like, we don't do that. The King of Wands is a king of leadership. He sometimes gets a bad rep, but underneath all of that, not just being a good leader, he can be very strategic. He is action. He gets shit done. He also gets a lot of attention. So if you want positive attention as a person who went to school for HR and has worked in HR, if you are trying to get attention, you can only do so in a positive way. Going above and beyond for any organization is quite literally a waste of your time. What you do is you inquire about projects. Hey, is there any projects, you need guys and assistance on? I can help. I'd like to learn. You always want to go in with the, I'd like to learn. I'd like to expand. But you're doing so and you're getting fucking paid. Don't ever do no free labor for any organization. You're doing so out of pure inquisitiveness plus a little bit of strategy. That is how you work corporate. You don't go in there begging, going above and beyond, acting desperate. They don't like that because they're always going to see you as the I'll do it person. You're always going to be the mole. Don't do that. Kings and queens don't do that because what clarified the King of Wands is the Queen of Pentacles. This is your time to shine if you are in that position. It is time for you to show that you can do something without appearing desperate, without being an asshole. I must stress that. Without being an asshole, without being an ass kisser. You're doing so from a place of, I'm genuine because I like working for this company. Yeah, I need it, but do you like it? I like working for this company. Or, there's nothing wrong with that selfish reason. I'm trying to learn this other part of the job so that I can take all that I've learned and go to another company. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. They don't have to know your strategy, basically. And that's something that you can do. I feel that for those of you who are in this position, it is a time for you to make a strategy. With the King of Wands and the Queen of Pentacles here, the King of Wands, he always sees the bigger picture. He doesn't just see the big picture, he jumps right on it. And then you got the Queen of Pentacles. She's smart. She's Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. I don't know too many Tauruses. They've always been sweet and just kind of laid back to me. But every Virgo and every Capricorn that I know, including myself, I am a Virgo with Capricorn rising placements, right? With a lot of other Capricorn placements in my chart. I like to take on projects because for me, it makes me smarter. It makes me more competent. I believe in leadership. I believe in taking charge. So I do have a little bit of that Queen of Wands energy. However, when you use that energy, that King of Wands and that Queen of Pentacles energy, because she's also strategist. That's another thing that Virgos and Capricorns are really good at. That strategy. They can build it. They know things that they see things that nobody else can really see. So this is your time. And I'm going to say this plainly. And excuse me for veering off the subject of the tarot for a second. This needs to be said. If you are the type of person who likes to create processes, because I'm feeling that this could be for some of you guys. What I mean by processes, SOPs, standard operating procedures, training manuals, things like that. If you are that type of person, this is your chance to shine. How do you shine? You find the fucking gaps. Find the gaps. You put that shit in writing. You create it, you strategize, and never on your own time unless you feel like you have to do that, right? You find the gaps. Hey, this process is taking us a little bit longer to do this, or this procedure is kind of outdated. Fix it, show what you can do, put that shit on your resume, get it approved. Okay? That's just a piece of HR advice. However, I'm seeing here with the Queen of Pentacles, um, she's a good businesswoman as well. So for those of you who want to go into business, take that be bold like the King of Wands, and you have that business sense about you. This is your time to start that business, get that LLC, get that business license, make that business plan, go get that loan because you will be approved. People are going to want to take a chance on you. But moving on, because I didn't expect for it to be this long, but this is a very, like I said, I'm an investigative tarot reader. Blame that on my Virgo placement. So I like to dig and I ask questions. As I mentioned, there could be for some of you a hiring freeze, or someone may be intentionally holding up the your resume or holding up the interview process or something. I don't know the reason. However, because it is you're in this, you could be in this frozen status, this suspended state, almost like the hangman. Even though the hangman is not here, you're in that suspended state. You're supposed to develop a different point of view, to develop a different perspective. This is saying, because it's frozen, because nothing's happening, now is the time to be inquisitive and protect yourself. With the Wheel of Fortune, there's still time on your side. There's still luck and fortune on your side. Um, you may not be expected to be in a position to have to protect yourself during this process. There are many reasons why companies go on hiring freezes, and it's not just because of the budget. It's other reasons as well. I'm not going to get into all of that. However, this is a time to step up, protect yourself, start asking those questions, but you want to ask it, of course, in a very smart, in a very, strategic type of way. Not, hey, what the hell is going on with my resume? How come I haven't heard this, that, and the other back? You don't want to do that. You want to be professional. Use ChatGPT to ask how to draft up something for you to type out and send to the recruiter or the hiring manager, or hell, both, right? So this is a time to look into it, because the Seven of Wands is also about a guy standing up for himself. Okay, this is how you get that wheel to move. The wheel is going to move once they see, okay, wow, this is a person who is genuinely interested in this position. They're trying to move up or go somewhere. Okay, let me go and look at this resume again, because I forgot, or that could be another part of the hiring freeze. I forgot, or I really need this person, but I have to go talk to HR or the person above me or whatever, so we can push this thing through. Because showing up for yourself, standing up for yourself, and protecting, I'm feeling for some of you, you're protecting a position that you want by doing so. By standing up for yourself, which is sending that email or checking up and seeing what's going on, you're protecting yourself. Also, for some of you, this is the time now, going back to just money in general. Protecting your money in a way that you have something for a rainy day, basically. Yes, like I mentioned, you want to be wise. You want to use your money in a wise manner. There's nothing wrong with being frugal, yada, yada, yada. You heard that part. Go back and rewind it if you need to. But and the reason why Spirit is saying this for just money in general is because by you planning, having a goal, being consistent, being ambitious, you're planting a seed. You're planting a seed. You're saying to the universe, spirit guides, whatever spiritual side you're on or not on, you're basically saying, I'm responsible. I'm taking care of what I'm supposed to take care of. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And I'm going to also, still live my life at the same time. I'm not going to worry too much about this because why? You have changed the damn perspective. In addition to that, this is a time for many of you to go back to school. Yep. This is the time for you to go back to school. If you feel that you are tired of working jobs that, you get overlooked, you may need a degree for, a certification for, a certificate for, whatever, what training, it's the time to do that. Start planting that seed. Yes, school takes a long time. We all know that. But it's going to be worth it because once you are done, the page is slow. The page of Pentacle, he's slow. He's also immature energy. He's also very young. So because it is the Pentacles and it's slow energy, it's also energy that basically says, no matter what, it's going to get done. I can be in school for 15 years, but I got it done, right? I hate to say it like that, but of course, definitely if you can speed up the process. But I feel that for some of you, by you going back to school, you'll be healing that part of you that felt unworthy in some jobs, that felt unworthy of those leadership positions. I also feel, okay, now I'm getting some more messages coming in. I'm also seeing too that by going to school, I'm hearing you're utilizing company benefits like tuition assistance. I don't know if you guys know, I'm going to give you a little bit of a secret. This is not all companies, this is some companies. Don't tell nobody I told you this. Sometimes tuition assistance is a form of job security. Sometimes. Not all the time. Sometimes. You know why? If your company gives out a certain amount of money to pay for you to go to class, tuition, whatever, certification, whatever, and especially if it's something that's going to benefit them and the company, let's say you work in healthcare, you have a bachelor's degree in nursing, but you decided, hey, I want to get my master's in nursing because of whatever reason, right? The company's going to look at you and be like, oh, hell no. When they start laying people off, they're going to be like, okay, first of all, that is a nurse. We're not really going to do that. Yes, we can always get nurses, but he or she has a bachelor's degree, right? But hell, we paid last year. We paid $5,000 for her ass to go to school. We're not laying her off, not yet. She owe us money. Remember, with some companies, they say, oh, they owe you owe them a certain amount of time to keep working for them. That's a form of job security for some companies, not all companies, because some companies who are in that position to where they have to lay people off, it is usually because of some contract or something that was broken into where they can't sustain it. So they'll take that loss of sending you to school, even though you probably didn't graduate or whatever. They'll take that loss. They'll just say, hey, yeah, we know we pay for your degree, but actually keeping you here is going to cost us a lot more than if we're laying you off. I know it makes no sense, but that's how some companies think, unfortunately. So that could be your hope, honestly, for some of you guys who aren't trying to go anywhere. But I'm also seeing here too, be prepared that if you are going to start going back to school, you're going to be balancing. You're going to this is a time for some of you to get that, to be adapt, to be flexible. Once again, making sure your resources are there for when you need it. If you're taking out student loans, don't blow it on BS. Speaking from experience, don't blow it on BS. Either you give it back to the government, to the school you say you don't want it, you don't need it, you can hold it up for another time, or you save it, right? Now, in addition to that, what I'm looking at with this money is whether it's money situation, this job situation, whatever it is for you guys. For some of you, you're about to enter a very, very happy time of your life. The journey that you are about to go on, for some of you, like I said, this is about education, going back to school. You're about to start learning things. You're probably going to start telling yourself, damn, I should have learned this a long time ago. Or you may have that knowledge because you've been working in a situation, a job, or whatever for so long that you're able to apply that real world analysis to, studies. That's going to take you on a journey to expand your mind. Okay. I can't explain it. It's just something, it's too long to explain, but it's just something you'll have to see for yourself. For those of you, you may be offered a job elsewhere that may require you to have to travel. It may require you to have to move. However, this is going to be a good journey. If you're thinking about moving to somewhere else to start a good job, this is a part of a wish fulfillment that you have here with this nine of cups. This is something that you maybe for a few of you, you've been waiting to achieve this. I'm feeling for some of you, you could have been waiting since last summer to step into this type of energy to where you are free to travel. I'm seeing here that there, for those who are getting promoted, you could be in a position of having to travel, honestly, but not just traveling in a sense of like physically driving, going somewhere, getting on a plane. That could be, because I'm hearing for some of you like directors or regional directors or management, like a middle management is what I'm getting. A lot of you could be getting ready to step into middle management, to where you may have to go to different sites to manage, different teams or help with different teams or something like that. But this is something that you could have wanted, and it's now you are afforded the opportunity to do so. For those of you who do have this new position, this new job, this new money, whatever, especially for those who have, like I mentioned, ironically, during the start of the reading, for those of you who just said, hey, I don't want to work, I don't want to spend any money like that right now, not here, I'd rather just travel for a little bit. This is something that is looking good for you. It's definitely going to provide you with the satisfaction that you are looking for. You are being asked by spirit right now to be the fool. Be the fool. Jump into, if you feel that you want to take a risk and you have been very apprehensive about it. It's so funny because I don't have too many pentacles here. Like, really, I don't. I have more so, if anything, a lot of water and fire. But I'm seeing here too that you are being told, and that's funny because so Venus and Uranus is doing something in the planets today. All I'm going to say is this. Venus is the quote unquote goddess of love, beauty, sensuality, and relationships, but she's also a goddess of abundance. I forget what Uranus, what he does. Whenever you get a chance, for those of you who have made it this far and listen, please follow a very great astrologer here on YouTube. Her name is Lunatic Astrology. I love her, love her, love her. She is the absolute best. She does do a little bit of world astrology, so be prepared if that's triggering for some of you guys. You can always look in her description box, and you can skip to your sign. I listen to it because I keep in touch with world events, on top of the fact that I'm not a news fanatic. Nothing in this world is about to drive me crazy, but she definitely keeps you up to date. And for the most part, I'd say since I've been watching her for a little over a year, almost 2 years now, she's very accurate. So look at her readings, because she will break it down sign by sign, and you can get a little bit more information about Uranus and Venus. But this is basically a time for many people of prosperity, taking with Mars too. Mars is doing something I forget. I'm not an astrologer. So um, now is the time to take that action. Now is the time to go out and do what you want to do, because whatever it is that you're trying to do, whatever next step you're trying to go to, you're going to be afforded freedom, basically. And for some of you, that freedom could be in that leadership position. It could be, I have enough money, so I do have the freedom to travel. But Spirit is also saying they want you to plan. With the Two of Wands here, this is a time of saying, before I jump into anything, because I know what I want. I know what I want to do, whether it's school, job, business, whatever you have going on with your money. Because I know what it is that I want to do, let me make a plan. Let me make the first steps. Let me decide what is best for me or possibly my family or significant other. Then you can take the leap of faith, because you're being supported. You're being supported to do that. The Two of Wands is fire energy. Fire energy, of course, falls under Mars for some. Let's see here. There's opportunities that is coming up for you guys. It's going to be some very good opportunities for. However, I am seeing here some of you are going to have some inner battles you have to fight off. This could also be some of you. You may be given for some of you the opportunity to pay down some old debts, some bad debts, because I feel that for some of you who do have some debts that are, a little bit out of control, and you want to get them under control, you're going to have the chance to revisit it to see how it is that you are able to fix that. Also, there's a lot of competition that you guys are up against right now. But going back to the three most important cards that we started off with, the Empress, the Queen of Pentacles, and the King of Wands. There could be someone, an old boss, a friend, lover, somebody wants to hook you up with a job. Somebody is inquiring about positions for you, whether you asked for it or no, I don't know. It could be if you're on LinkedIn or something like that, and you posted that, you're looking for another job or whatever, and you follow some people that you used to work with at another company, they may invite you back, and that may be your inner battle, because you don't know if you want to go back and do that. You may be like internally battling yourself on what it is that I want to do. You may have some good and bad memories. I'm feeling for some of you, it could be more bad than good. However, if you weren't the person that didn't burn that bridge and you left on good accord or whatever, you will be invited back. I feel like with one of these leaders who have that Empress energy, that Queen of Pentacles energy, or that King of Wands energy, you will be invited back. Somebody in a position of leadership will be watching you. But it's up to you if you want to take that chance. I'm also seeing here with these doors, these opportunities that are opening for you. Once again, you're just being supported right now. Like on a spiritual level, you're really being supported. You got the Two of Cups here. That's partnership. If you go back to an old position, I don't think you'll necessarily be in that old position for long, or they're going to hire you, give you another position that pays more. You may not have been expecting that. And it's all because you kept the connection, you kept the door open. You went out on a limb and you asking for an opportunity, hey, I want to know who's hiring. And maybe somebody saw that and they're like, hey, I know this person. I got a referral. That's a good thing. What is crazy is when I typically shuffle these oracle cards, I don't really get fallouts. I don't get fallouts, but for the first time ever, I did. Um, like I said, once again, because you got authority and connections. That just it really just goes back to what I just said, honestly. Even if you do go back to another old job, this is a chance for you to build some new relationships. I'm hearing just don't burn your bridges. Like I literally heard don't burn your bridges, bro. Don't burn your bridges. If there's something that you are battling about an old situation, money or something, you have to find a way to handle it diplomatically, because you guys are going to get a lot of like sudden communication. Momentum is going to pick up with your, you could have put a couple of resumes out there. Like I'm feeling like for this week especially, this reading is just Taurus season in general. Don't forget Taurus season is, because it is an earth sign, it is slow moving energy too, but it's stable energy. um be careful with your words, be careful with how you talk. I'm hearing that. I'm also seeing here, and it goes back to travel too with this Eight of Wands. You may get an opportunity to get a job that requires you to travel. Um, it's like, yes, you got the job. I just keep seeing, you're so supported, dude. Like, yes, you got the job. Yes, your business license got approved. Your LLC is getting sent to you in the mail. You've got so much good news coming up for you. This is a time because you have the Eight of Wands clarified by the Three of Pentacles. So this partnership, on top of the fact that you have the Two of Cups as the exact last card, um, you're being you're being seen. The attention is going to be on you. It may start off a little slow, and it's like Spirit is saying, don't give up. It may start out a little slow. You may not even think that you got the position. You may feel like for some of you, you bombed the interview. It happens to some of us sometimes. Don't feel ashamed about that, because regardless, it's like you're going to be seen. And even if you don't, I'm here for a few of you, even if you don't get that exact position, somebody is going to put you in a different position that may be more in alignment with you. Messages from your higher self. This is very interesting. New chapters require a new version of you. I pulled 3 cards. When you start, the path appears. So take a steps in any direction. Big dreams are built by those who do the work. There you go. That's it. That's all I have to say with that. You're being supported. It's just a matter of these things could have either happened already or they're in the process of happening. Just know that there's something better waiting for you, and to not be stuck in a lack mindset. And if you have been in a lack mindset or a low self-esteem mindset, feeling that you can only get one job because it's all you've been doing all your life, you have to change your perspective on that, because you have so much of the support of Spirit. Spirit is supporting like your journeys. It's opening doors, putting you in positions of leadership. Just be careful. The only warning that I saw here is being careful with, if you haven't if you've been contemplating leaving a job, or if you know you're leaving a job, or if you're going back to a job that you used to be at, don't burn any bridges. Don't burn any bridges, and do not, and watch your tongue. Watch your tone and your tongue. All right. So that is it. Get on LinkedIn, start, advertising yourself, talking to your friends, family, whoever. If some of you are in this situation, for the business side, once again, opportunities, partnerships, connections, they're coming up. You, once again, have to watch your tone and how you talk. your words, how you talk to people, because you don't want to burn a bridge. It just may be something, a partnership that you may need in the future, and you definitely want to keep that door open. So basically, this is a time, and that's true with that Taurus energy, this is a time for you to be very diplomatic and strategic about where you want to go next when it comes to your money. And that is your reading, guys. I hope this helped. If this resonated, please, leave a comment. If you don't, then that's fine too. I just thank you for coming to watch the video this far. You guys have yourself a good rest of your day, night, or evening whenever you see this message. Bye-bye.